Hey guys, today I want to talk about what the term best friend means, which I know the meaning varies from person to person, even just what friend means varies from person to person, but I've been thinking a bit about my own views on friendship and how kind of books, TV, and like the media in general kind of influenced me to think a certain way as a kid, so I kind of want to talk about that. I remember as a kid watching the Disney Channel, and a Disney Channel star, who I do remember the name of but I'm not going to mention in here, said something about how she didn't consider herself to have a best friend because she just had friends and she liked that more than having a specific best friend. And I remember hearing that as a kid and thinking that that was such like a great thing. Like, she sounded almost enlightened. I was in like a best friend group at the time, so I didn't have like one best friend, I had a couple. It wasn't like what she was describing, because she described having like no best friends at all, like not labeling anyone as her best friend, whereas I had labeled people my best friends, but I had more than one. I loved that idea, and I thought it was like the ultimate thing that you would like want to achieve, to just be friends with all of these people but not consider any of them your best friend. I think what I wanted was to be everyone else's like number one friend, but then I personally wouldn't have a best friend over everyone else, which sounds really self-centered. Keep in mind, I was pretty young when this was going on, and I did not realize that that's really what I wanted at the time. Looking back on it now, I realize that that's kind of what I was like fantasizing about. It's never what actually happened. Even then though, cause the idea of having like one best friend who you're just each other's best friends and you put each other before everyone else and everything was really pushed in like TV and books and things. It's really common, and I think I really wanted that too. So even though I told myself like the idea of not having a best friend is so great, I really did want like a best friend, because the majority of what I was getting presented with was when you have a best friend, basically you're with each other 24/7, constantly talking to each other, and you don't have like any other friends. A lot of the times it does seem that way, like in TV shows and things. I really think that that affected my self-esteem for a period of time when I was younger, because I had this view of like, you should have this kind of friendship with someone, and I didn't really. Like, I had close friends, but it wasn't like that, and we all had other friends, and we weren't like the centers of each other's worlds, basically, which is sometimes what two best friends can seem like in TV shows, especially for me that at that age, I think. Looking back on it now, I realize that the reason why media typically presents friendship in that way is because when you have a TV show, especially, again, you have to have a limited cast of characters. You can't follow a million characters, and you can't have a main character who has a ton of friends, because you can't keep, like, the audience can't keep easy track of that many characters, and even if they can't become emotionally attached to that many characters. So because of that, you have to limit the amount of friends that your main character has, so that the characters that are there have enough like screen time or page time to connect with the audience, and the audience cares about them. At it now, I can see that that's why so many characters in fiction seem to have a very limited number of friends and are always with the friends that they do have and never anyone else, because that's what's needed for the story and for the audience to like develop connections with those characters. It's not because that's what an accurate picture of friendship should be in the real world. I did not really get that as a kid, and I think getting older and being able to kind of look at the stories I'm consuming and realize that they're not accurate pictures of reality, which like I knew even then, like I didn't think Hannah Montana could actually happen. I never believed that someone could just like put on a wig and everyone would believe she was a different person. Other aspects of stories use and tropes that are used like over and over, like kind of the way friendship is presented, that I didn't really question because it was always there, and this was definitely one of those things. I really think I had to break myself out of the mindset I had and reteach myself to view friendship differently, family and not think that like I was a failure if I didn't have this one best friend who I talked to like 24/7, and we seemingly had no other friends because we just needed like each other. Most of my childhood, like I said, I did have more than one person that I considered a best friend. Fine and everything, and our friendship was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but I feel like in the back of my mind I always considered myself to be some sort of failure because I did have more than one best friend, which is really, really not how I should have viewed everything. I think that I really did think that I should have one best friend, and it was like, I don't know if wrong's the right word, but I almost do think that I viewed it as my friendships aren't the way they're meant to be because they're different than how the friendships I'm typically presented in media. My like specific views on friendship and like what an ideal friendship is and things like that will probably continually change for the rest of my life. Let me know what you think about anything I've said in this video or what you think about friendship in general. I think it's really interesting to kind of talk about how people view friendship. I think we all just take for granted that everyone else views friendship in light of like your responsibilities as a friend are and things like that for granted and don't like talk about it. I'm going even further with this than I had planned to, but I will see you guys later. Bye.